Hi, since I've got this DBPower 4K out of the car at the moment, I'm just about to put it in the car for good. I think I've sorted it out, and that is where it will stay unless something happens, of course, when I'll pull it out. I thought I'd just do a rundown of what it's like, really. It's very simple to operate. It's simpler than the Git 2, the Git Up, Git 2. It doesn't give you as many options. It's 20 quid cheaper, or 30 quid cheaper really, than a Git Up, Git 2. And you don't get as many options, and the image stability on the Git 2 is undoubtedly better. It's about the best I've found, which is why I use it for the motorbike. But this is absolutely perfectly satisfactory for the car, and I'm very happy with it. You get, as I explained in one of my previous videos, a multitude of attachments and bits and bobs that come with it, the most important one of which was the frame mount, which I use in the car. And the good thing about the frame mount was that it had screw holes top and bottom, so there's no need to invert the image in the settings on this. It comes with a little booklet, which is perfectly alright. It's very basic. I mean, you're going to have to mess around with it a bit, but it shows you this and that. I only had to consult it once, which was how to turn the Wi-Fi on. And basically these things, I mean, now they've been around a few years, you know, they're much easier to set up. It's just like the process we went through with broadband routers when they turned up. My first broadband router, I spent 3 days trying to get going. And then all of a sudden it suddenly started working, and I had no real idea why, but everyone else, as they went on to broadband, assumed that I was an expert, you know, in their particular routers, and I didn't have a clue. I didn't even have a clue, you know, how I got my own going, let alone theirs. But yeah, this, and I was looking at IP cams the other day. They've got a lot simpler to set up, you know, with Wi-Fi apps and what have you. To begin with, they were nearly impossible when they first came out. You had to go through some very obscure configuration processes. And it's the same with these cams, dash cams. They have got a lot easier to set up. So let's just have a look at the menus. You turn it on by pressing that for 3 seconds. And it's very simple on this. You press the front button once to change the mode. We're on photo mode there. That is viewing your movies mode, I think. I don't really know, I don't really use it. And press the front button once again and you're in the menus, which are very easy and self-explanatory, because on the side of the cam you have an up button and a down button. Which is very, very easy to use. So you just, you know, these are the standard things. I've got it set to 1080p 60. I decided in the end that the 4K at 24 frames a second just wasn't worth it. It was too jerky. Here are the very standard options. The one thing I miss, because I'm going to be going on about WDR, wide dynamic range, a bit on this cam, is a little setting that allows you to do automatic. If there was something, there's some way they could incorporate a system on this that allowed you to turn wide dynamic range off at night, that would be a big improvement. That's an important one. Car accessory, right? If you turn that on, then it'll act as a dash cam, i.e. it'll turn on and off with the ignition on your car. Yeah, this is all, you know, basic stuff. Now, to turn the, I'll just change modes back to video. To turn the Wi-Fi on, all you've got to do is tap that top button once. Okay, and there's the green Wi-Fi symbol come on. Just put that down there for a moment. Then you open up your mobile device. I'll just feed in my password. Okay, go to settings. Right, we've just moved over to, I'm recording the iPad screen now. Okay, so there we are, we've got it connected to the action cam. So you go back to your main screen, fire up the program that you get from the App Store. This is iOS, obviously, by scanning in the QR code on the side of the box that the cam came in. And you get this, a very, very basic Wi-Fi settings. You've got movie record, movie exposure values, movie audio, movie data in print, photo settings, you can set the size, and system settings, set passphrase format, system reset, and clear cache. That's it, that's your lot. It's a real shame that we didn't, there isn't a WDR option in there, to be quite honest. And this is what the app looks like when you start it up. It's obvious. These things are all much of a muchness now. But there's only very, very few, I would say, settings that you can actually change with the Wi-Fi app. It would be useful to have a WDR setting, wide dynamic range setting on that. Because when it's in the car at night, I really like to have WDR turned off. Otherwise the footage tends to be very, very grainy. And it's a bit of a fiddle if the thing's mounted. You might have to unmount the camera, which is a fiddle. Getting it out of the frame and turning it on and messing around with it and re-sticking it back. It would just be a lot easier if you could do it by Wi-Fi. Right, that's the app. Now let's have a look at some of the footage that this camera took in the short time that I've had it. Right, the first thing to note is that when I got the cam, and here it is mounted on my motorbike, the first time I took it out, the white balance was off. As you can see, there is a reddy brown cast on the picture. Which I didn't like at all. This was cured entirely by adjusting the white balance. And having done that, we get this, which is, it's mounted in my car now. And this is footage with wide dynamic range, WDR, turned off. It was, as you can see, a rainy day, very grey, very overcast. The camera is actually making it look brighter than it was. You can see how the brake lights on that car show up. And this is it without WDR in very murky grey conditions. As I say, it looked murkier than this. And on the way back from Cheltenham, I was going into Cheltenham, I turned WDR on and got this. Now, as you can see, it's very, very clear, isn't it? Very clear, very sort of pinpoint accurate. This is 1080p 60, by the way. I decided that the 24 frames per second 4K wasn't really worth it, and as you can see, this is plenty good enough to to use as proof of anything that happens, which is basically probably the next time I'm going to be taking it out of the car is if something happens. On the other hand, I might check it. The next footage I'll probably put up with winter coming up is nighttime footage, maybe comparing WDR on, WDR off. But I haven't been out at night. I very, very rarely leave the house at night these days. I'm not as young as I once was, and I haven't been anywhere in the car at night. But with the winter coming up, me having to make coal runs and things like that, it's much more likely. So that's it, really. I mean, let's just have a listen to the microphone, because the microphone is very, very good in this cam, and this is what it's picking up in the car. Go on, you silly old twat. Yeah, I probably need to do anger management or something. It's only in jest. But yeah, this is it's got very good microphone. Picks up an awful lot of sound. And there's nothing more to say really. I mean, these things are all so much of a muchness now, aren't they? I think most cams that you pick up are going to give you, goodish footage. There's plenty of videos out on YouTube comparing them and what have you, many more than when I first started messing around with them. But that's it. That is my review so far of the DBPower 4K. I'm very happy with it. For 70 quid, it's a good cam, to be quite honest. Happy with it. The image stabilization is good enough for the car, as you can see. And yeah, I'm pleased I bought it. Okay, well, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.